Creating a mistake response versus a mistake reaction. Very critical for players. This is maybe going to change your entire mindset as it relates to making mistakes on the court or within practice. This is a game-changing mindset.
I think mistake response versus mistake reaction is one that just really resonates with players, and it really is one of those things you can instantly put into action. And the gist is this: most people just react when something doesn't go their way. And I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about anything in life. There's, something doesn't go your way, and you have a natural reaction. Some people it's to, put their head down. Some people it's to curse. Some people it's to whatever. People just react, however they want. But a real secret, a life hack, right, is to be able to respond. To know that good things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen, and you kind of calculate your response. If you go into a game, you're all jacked up and you go for 3, and all of a sudden your reaction is to pout, right? But if you go in and hey, if I miss these 3, no matter what, or if I make these 3, I'm going to respond in this manner. You turn the ball over, okay? The reaction for a lot of players is like look for a foul or put their arms up or drop their head, what we call droop, just kind of pout about it. So at some point during the game, he turns the ball over on this particular play and immediately hustles back and dives from behind and steals the ball back. And his response to the mistake was to try harder, right? And in some players, the mistake is somewhat, some understandable. Sometimes it's embarrassment that creeps in, right? Like you turn the ball over and you get embarrassed, so immediately you react with embarrassment. You don't want people to notice that you just did what you did, right? But you have to train yourself to have the right response. Like if you were to go into a game, it starts like, in a moment like this. All right, if I was going into a game and I missed a shot, what would I want my response to look like? And you have to make that decision beforehand. Otherwise, if you haven't predetermined, you're just going to react. You're not going to have a response. Probably the biggest play of the NBA Finals last year was LeBron's chase down from behind, right, where he came back and made that block. And it was after his team had something not go their way. The guy missed a shot, he got blocked, and everyone's getting back, and LeBron just comes out of nowhere. I'm watching the play right now, and it's like, he could have easily just watched the play and been a little bit disappointed. And you know what the score of the game was at the time when that guy missed the shot? 89-89. That could have been the difference in all of it.
So often, players don't even put themselves in the position to make the play to kind of recover because they're so caught up in their reaction, right? And the game is fast. The game is extremely fast. So if you take a second to throw your hands up and be all emotional or, acting, or maybe you want to flop or whatever it happens to be, the opportunity for you to recover in that moment has passed you by.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very intentional with that, players.
And the thing is, things are going to go wrong. You know what I mean? Like, players, we just need to accept that right now. Like, things are going to go wrong. And,
And coaches want to see that response.
Yeah.
They don't want to see the reaction. Okay, the reaction shows in many cases a sign of immaturity.
Yeah.
Throwing the hands up, cursing. The coach wants to see the mature. They know things aren't always going to be perfect. Coaches have started preparing for that well in advance, okay? So when you turn the ball over or you miss a three-point shot or you get your shot blocked, guess what? That's not a surprise to the coach. The coach knows things like that are going to happen. Yeah. So he wants to see how you respond to it and how you handle that little bit of adversity. You've got to start training yourself. I know for me personally in life, a few years back, I decided to make the decision to quit cursing. All right, that was the decision I made. I said I no longer want to curse. And what happened over, I'd say probably 6 months of real kind of conscious trying to train myself not to curse and really trying to watch my language, it has had a profound impact on my ability to respond to situations versus react. Because the cursing was my biggest reaction crutch. Yeah. It's what I always went to. And once I got to the point where I no longer could say it and it pained me inside when I went that route, it forced me when something bad happened to actually think through it.
Yeah.
Not just, fire off the collar, just go crazy, but I had to actually think through it. And it took work. So sometimes you got to actually be intentional and try to and work at trying to respond versus react.
Yeah, and I would encourage players, maybe it's just getting an iPhone, or maybe your parents, or maybe your coach goes back and they're able to to film you. Like, what does your response look like? Because there's two parts to it. Like, how do you want to show up? Like, if you make a mistake, do you want to show up like a champion, one that fights back, or do you want to show up as a powder or the disappointed? Because I think most players want to show up like the champion that fights back. I think they want it, but they're just not sure how to do that. So, kind of get a gauge for yourself and how you show up in those tough moments and when a mistake happens, because they're going to come and you're going to make mistakes for sure. And so then when you decide that, hey, this is the player that I want to be, then you start taking tangible ways to be able to do that, and you say, hey, this is how I'm going to do that. I remember as a player, I did two different things. I had a rubber band. They didn't make you take them off back then. When I missed a shot, or I turned it over, or I popped the band, and I would just remind myself, like, bam,
snap back.
Okay. One of the things we teach at PGC is 2 claps. You make a mistake, don't clap 10 times, because the game carries on. And 1 clap can be like, dang, right? 2 clap, 1, 2, I'm back into it. And so you can figure out what your mistake response needs to be, but you do need to have one. Not everybody's has to be the same, but you got to know that when I do make a mistake, this is how I want to show up.
This here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump.